what is each fighter fighting for? You know, what is DC fighting for? What is John fighting for? I think obviously DC versus John Jones 2. DC said that this was the most important fight of his life. This is the most important athletic event of his life. You know, more important than the Olympics, more important than his first title fight. I mean, this is the biggest thing in DC's life right now. And I think that says a lot. You know, I think people have not universally, and when I say people, I'm talking about, you know, the fans, the media, and also his peers. They have not really universally accepted DC as the light heavyweight champion of the world, simply because no one beat John Jones. So of course there's people that are going to be saying that, well, DC's just a placeholder, right? He's the interim champ, really, because he's holding the belt until John Jones is coming back from suspension, which, you know, we all knew John Jones was coming back. There was no doubt in my mind that was the last time we saw John Jones. I think everybody knew that John Jones is a young man, and whatever trouble he gets into, he's definitely going to be back. So unfortunately, it's tough for DC because he won the vacant belt. He defended against, you know, Gustafsson. He defended against Rumble. I mean, those are some tough guys, man. Tough guys in the 205 division. And if there was no John Jones, then DC would be universally hailed as the best light heavyweight in the world right now, and he would be a champion. But the fact is, DC already fought John Jones, and he lost to John Jones. What is John fighting for? I think obviously John's fighting for redemption. His belt was stripped. He was suspended. His life outside the cage is well documented, and he's trying to redeem himself. I am the best light heavyweight in the world. I am the champion, and this is my belt. You know, DC's just holding it for me while I was away. Whereas DC's fighting for something else. You know, he's really fighting for his legacy. He's fighting to make sure that people don't question his legitimacy as a champion, that there is no asterisk in his name on the list of light heavyweight champions. So he has to beat him to really prove himself, I believe, and I believe he has to win this fight. This is definitely a do or die for DC. You know, I think his legacy, his reign as a champion, is definitely going to be in question because of the fact that if he lost to John Jones, and then he lost to John Jones, and during that period where John Jones was suspended or inactive, that he was the champion, really he's nothing more than he was just the guy who was kind of holding the belt for John until John came back. You know, he's just the guy that's the interim champion. So I think, again, I think DC knows what's at stake here. He's fighting for his legacy. He wants to make sure that nobody questions his time as champion, that when he was champion, he was the best, whether John Jones was active or not. Whereas John's fighting for redemption. He wants to beat DC and prove that, hey, I was the best all along, and I want everything that I lost back. So in order to secure his legacy as a champion during this time period, during this 2-year period, he has to beat John Jones in a rematch. He can't lose to John Jones 2 times in a row. I think that'll be devastating. That's a career ender. If DC loses to John Jones, and if he gets finished, or it's a dominant decision by John Jones, I think DC will ultimately retire. I don't think he's going to try to make another run for the title. You know, he's close to 40 years old. He has a great job as an analyst and a commentator, you know, for the UFC. So I think his fight career is coming to an end. He's been through some, you know, rough weight cuts, rough fights recently in the last 2 years. He said it himself that he wants to be the best. He wants to be the champion. He doesn't want to be the guy that's second best. So if he loses to John Jones 2 times in a row, then he is the second best. You know, he can beat everyone else except John Jones. And I don't think that's going to sit well with DC. So I feel like if he loses, he will retire. But what if DC wins? Obviously, he's not going to retire. DC and John are going to have a rubber match, and they're finally going to settle it, you know, who's the best. And I think that will be DC's last fight. 2 guys fighting for different reasons, you know, a lot to lose and a lot to gain. I think this is going to be a great fight. I do see John winning this fight. I do see John Jones winning this fight, though.